Hi all. This is the little presentation on alerts, warnings and notifications. And I'm going to do a little run through in CSnet demo so that I can share some of the information that I set out in the PowerPoint presentation you should have a copy of. So let me share. Okay, so you should now be able to see CSnet demo. I'm logged in as a worker. And in front of you can see there's Lily Lapsong's case. In terms of the alerts, the warnings and notifications, I'm just going to step you through how this shows in the Lily Lapsong case. So if you click on the quick view, as you know, the quick view's got lots of information, but included in that, it's got notifications and alerts. And if I scroll down a bit further, when I get down to the clients or participants who are linked to this activity, you can also see the warnings. And you can see when I have the hover over, I can also see the warnings. So from the quick view, I can see a lot of information and we can cover notifications, alerts and warnings. So let's start with alerts. What's an alert? An alert is system generated. So you can see here there's 3 examples of alerts that are linked to this Lily Lapsong activity in this particular program or activity type in our world called Child, Youth and Family Services. So I've got an example, 3 examples here of this kind of a heads up. This expires in 14 days. It's orange. This one is a safety plan due and review, which is required, and that's being generated out of a plan action or theme. And finally, the child health check is due in less than 14 days. Same thing, a heads up. And so the colours, green, orange and red, you can tell us how to help you to configure that. These are configured by CSnet. And the alerts, as we said before, are the bells. So you can see that right here from the dashboard, 3 bells on the Lily Lapsong case. You can also see the bells up the top here, the little icon. If I click on it, it sets out all of the alerts where I'm in those activities or in the team in the activities, so I will see those. If you need to remove an alert, then you can go into the activity, find where the due date is and change that. This is an example where this due date is sitting on the client. So if I open the activity and click on Lily Lapsong's case, her client record, click on here. Then when I click in here in risk and safety, I can see this is the field that is driving that alert. And that's why it's overdue. This little arrow also means that if it's changed over time, then you will see the history of that on that. If I want to take that out because it's now no longer relevant or it's been changed now to 2028, all I need to do is to change the date, hit save, fill this out. And then in 10 minutes, CSnet will do a sweep of the system again, and that little alert will be removed. Okay, let's move on to warnings. So we know that the warnings sit on the client. So wherever Lily Lapsong is linked to an activity or in her family view, if I click on here and go here into her family view, you can also see the warnings here. If I click on Lily's name here in terms of the family record. You can also see, I can see examples of a DV warning and do not disclose address. I want to manage the warnings, then I go in here. I can remove the warning. You can see I need to put in a removal reason. I have to have permission to be able to do that. Same thing. The organisation can configure its own warnings. So you can configure those, and then that's available to other workers. So that's permission based. When you add a new warning, you can see you also need the reason for warning, and this is where you can decide to display text on client. To remove a warning, that's where you go here to manage warnings on the client. Notifications. So let's just touch on notifications. So if I click on here, notifications are in the little envelope. I click on here, telling me there's 18 notifications that I can see because either I'm on the activity as principal worker or I'm in a team. And from here, any of these notifications, I can click in here and I can, in this case, I can acknowledge it because it's to me and remove it, or I can go here and I can go straight to that activity to manage the notification from there. But then notifications sit here on the quick view. You can see I can add a new notification here. The way to add a new notification is to choose from the drop-down list. These are all the workers on the team or added to this activity. So you can see why thinking about the way you configure your teams and which teams should be linked to which activity types also helps you to think about how you might want to use notifications. So I can choose someone, put in the message, hit save, and that will be immediately updated here on the notifications. If I want to click on here, sorry, I'll go in here, go in here. Because I'm the principal worker on this activity, I can acknowledge this, and this notification will be removed. So I can click acknowledge and hit refresh. And now you can see that those notifications are reduced to 2. In terms of the reports, if you go over here, notifications is a report which has got all of the notifications. And if you use this particular report, you can choose by site and by activity. You can choose that if you want to see the notifications by user type, by activity status. So if you only want to see those notifications for those activities that are sitting on initial establishment or full establishment, choose the activity type that you want or select all. And you can even do this by funding source and by date range. Similarly, if I want to see all of the alerts, as you know, the reports are permission-based as well. I can choose that, same thing, all alerts by whatever sites I have permission to see, by user type, by activity status, by activity type, funding sources, date range. Similarly, if I want to see a list of all warnings, then I can choose that client warnings report and run that. Let's run one of these so you can see. So I'll choose all, I'll leave that all set. Not sure how many warnings are in here, so let's go back a bit. But to date, it's today. Download the report. And you'll see that every row has got the name of the client, their date of birth, their gender, and it's actually, because the warnings are client specific, you can see it actually tells you all of the activities that Angela is in. And it's now showing all of the warnings, and you can see that's telling me the date that that warning was added and not removed. The alerts and the warnings and notifications can be used in combination with a whole range of other parts of the system in CSnet. So it's really important to think about this rather than a single use of a single one of these features, but to think about it in terms of combinations. And there's lots of other features in CSnet that can be used in combination. So restricted activity types, you might actually really want to have a particular activity type that only a limited number of workers or teams can see. And in that case, you wouldn't, if you didn't have permission to see that activity type, you wouldn't see that activity type when you did a search. Access controls can also be added to a client. If you have a client who has a conflict of interest with someone, then you can also use the access controls to restrict a person from seeing, searching and finding that family altogether. And of course, the client history, which is inside any activity. If I want to see all of the activities, all of the records, any of these by any area of interest, then I can choose that, and the client history will show me that set out. I can click on here if I've got permission and be able to see the notes that are linked to that. So once again, we would encourage you to talk to us about how to use the alerts, warnings and notifications with the other features. And we look forward to talking to you some more about thinking about the design. Thanks, everyone.